right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this wonderful program called Standards in the Spotlight. It is the 14th day of October 2024. Not the usual voice that you would normally hear on Standards in the Spotlight, because today is a very, very, very important and a very special day for our good friends at the Bureau of Standards. Of course, tonight's topic right here on DBS Radio on Standards in the Spotlight is the 25th anniversary of the Dominica Bureau of Standards, and of course we are talking World Standards Day 2024. The guests this evening with me, Mr. Martin Walters, Director of Trade and National Standards Council member. Of course, Keisha Joseph, Officer in Charge at the DBOS, Dominica Bureau of Standards, and Naomi Banis Sampson, Technical Officer, Standards Development. Of course, celebrating the Bureau's 25th anniversary and World Standards Day. Of course, we'll be going through some activities in observance of this wonderful milestone. Of course, we'll conduct a little reflection on the past 25 years. We'll discuss what the NSC envisions for the next 25 years. Of course, we'll also talk about World Standards Day, the theme, and what the world and, of course, the Bureau are doing as it relates to standards development and implementation of standards. So welcome to a wonderful, wonderful program, Standards in the Spotlight. We know we've had a bit of a hiatus, but we certainly hope that you've missed us, the program, and we are back. Yes, we have a very special program lined up for you tonight as the Dominica Bureau of Standards celebrates its 25th anniversary. And of course, we are observing World Standards Day 2024. We just want to say thank you to all of you for joining us, whether you are here on island listening to all our frequencies on DBS Radio or through, of course, the television channels, or in the diaspora. Of course, we're also streaming live on the DBS Radio YouTube and Facebook channels and pages. So tonight, of course, we will be reflecting on the Bureau's journey from its commissioning to where it stands today. We'll share some major achievements we've had along the way, as well as, the aspirations going forward for the future. Plus, of course, we'll tell you about the exciting activities we've planned to celebrate this momentous and wonderful occasion. And of course, we will be discussing World Standards Day 2024 and why, yes, importantly, why the development and implementation of standards are so vital in today's world. And of course, right here in Dominica. I'm your host this evening. My name is Joseph Fadul, and of course, in studios with me, of course, our wonderful, wonderful guests. We have Mr. Martin Walter, Director of Trade and a member of the National Standards Council, Ms. Keisha Joseph, Officer in Charge at the Dominica Bureau of Standards, and Mrs. Naomi Banis Sampson, Technical Officer in Standards Development at the Bureau. Thank you, all three of you, for being here this evening. And of course, we are definitely looking forward to having a very excited, but very importantly as well, informative and educational conversation tonight right here on Standard in the Spotlight. So let's start off with a round of introductions all around. Let me start from my left, so that's Mrs. Naomi Banis Sampson. A little introduction to you. Good evening to you, Mrs. Banis Sampson. Welcome to, of course, the comeback of Standards in the Spotlight right here on DBS. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, Mr. Fadul. Good evening to all my fellow colleagues and your listeners as well. I am Naomi Banis Sampson, and I work at the Dominica Bureau of Standards as a technical officer in standards development, more specifically, and pretty much responsible for facilitating the development of standards, national standards, and helping Dominica to participate in regional and international standards activities.
Okay, thank you very much. And of course, also would like to welcome Mr. Martin Walters. Definitely no stranger to the media, Mr. Walters. Good evening to you, Director of Trade and also a member of the National Standards Council. Good evening to you, Mr. Walters. Welcome to this program, Standards in the Spotlight. How you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. Good evening and thank you for having me here. Good evening to the listening public, both here and abroad. As you said, I'm Martin Walter, Director of Trade, and I have been a member of the Standards Council for approximately 9 years. Other than that, I am the Chief Advisor to the government on all trade issues, locally, regionally, and internationally. And I am very happy to be here so that we can share knowledge on what the Bureau has been doing over the past 25 years since its establishment. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Welcome. Very, very welcome. And of course, no stranger, just making sure she's here with us as well. She's always behind the scenes, but tonight, she has to be front and center in studio here with us. We have the one, the only Keisha Joseph, officer in charge at the Dominica Bureau of Standards. Keisha Joseph, good evening. How are you doing?
Good evening, Mr. Fadden. I'm doing okay. Thank you for having us here today. Good evening also to the listening public. As mentioned, my name is Keisha Joseph, officer in charge of the Dominica Bureau of Standards, and we're hoping that today that we can have a very informative session.
All right, most definitely. So, of course, ladies and gentlemen, of course, those of you who are also listening to us on the audio stream only on our YouTube and Facebook page of DBS Radio, this is Standards in the Spotlight. The topic tonight is 25th anniversary of the Dominica Bureau of Standards, and of course we are discussing World Standards Day. We're going to take 60 seconds and we will be right back right here on DBS Radio. Welcome back to Standards in the Spotlight right here on DBS Radio. Of course, 25 years of progress and 25 years of amazing achievements. Let's begin by taking a little step back. Of course, this year marks 25 years of the Dominica Bureau of Standards, a major milestone for the Dominica Bureau of Standards. Mr. Walter, let me start off with you. As a member of the National Standards Council, you have witnessed a lot of growth over the years. You indicated, as one of the chief advisors to the government as well. What are some of the things and some of the reflections that you can share with us on the past 25 years? How have you seen the Bureau evolve?
Yes, thank you very much for that. Thank you. We got to take a little walk down memory lane, but I think that the Bureau has come a very, very long way since its enactment or since its inception in 1999 on the passage of the Standards Act. And I remembered, the ground was. We hit the ground running with informative informative activities promoting and maintaining standards, speaking to the public about the legislative and the administrative framework, and the fact that standards are vitally important in our health, in ensuring our health, ensuring our wellness, and in improving the processes and the production of goods and services and practices in Dominica. We moved initially by ensuring that there was an introduction of the National Standards Compliance Program. And today, it is very well established, and it has accomplished about 90% increase in compliance as it relates to the monitoring of imports, most especially where labeling standards are concerned. And that's very important to the public, because you need to be aware of what is in the products that you are consuming. Products would have come in, for example, with languages such as Spanish or in Chinese, for example, in French. I mean, we have trade relationships with those countries, but our people need to know what are in those products, and so the Bureau would ensure that there is the English language also translations on that particular labeling, so that persons know what exactly they are taking into their systems. And then we deal with the issues of weights and measures, vitally important. The times have always been precarious in nature. It's not only just now, and people want to make sure that whatever they purchase, the weight is very accurate, and they have the value for money, if that is the way to put it. And so the Bureau of Standards is vitally important in that regard, ensuring that the weights are accurate, the measures are totally accurate. We had a little bit of a journey coming to a point where the Bureau had teeth, because although we had the Standards Act in place, we did not have the regulations until sometime thereafter. So we had regulations put in place in 2020, and those regulations were vitally important in allowing the Bureau to continue on that thrust of doing the work that it required to do. More than that, it could be able to at least charge certain fees, so that it can be able to take care of some of its service-related obligations. We move forward with the implementation and the use of standards marks. I'm not sure whether many persons in the public are aware of that, but a standards mark is a designation that is given to a laboratory or from a testing facility. So when tests are done, you would see that mark on that product and or in the area where the test is done, so that that the Bureau of Standards has done its prerequisite work in that regard. We also are involved in the testing of articles that are submitted or seized. So we work very closely with government agencies, including the Customs and Excise Department in carrying out certain tests to establish certain products. Publishing, for example, we have published approximately 21 national standards over the years. We have completed a total of about 64 standards for adoption as national standards, and that is vitally important, because it would make us feel very safe as a nation as it relates to the goods that we consume, the services that we are involved in, and whether they are safe, the buildings that we live in and whether those buildings are safe, the processes that are being used in preparing things for us, and whether those processes are done as it relates to international and regional standards. We have received over 120 requests for standards from industries, from government ministries, from regulatory agencies, and from the business community for consideration. We continue to conduct lab testing, and this part of it is vitally important. I'm very sure the officer in charge will speak about it a little bit, because in the past many of our producers would have to send their products, a sample of the products that they're producing, out of state for testing purposes, and it can be very expensive to get the test done, and timely also, time consuming to get back the results, so that they can move forward and participate in trade. But we can carry out some of the testing in our chemistry labs and in our microbe labs. For example, tests for shelf life of products, testing for alcohol content, and testing and also indicating the nutritional facts of the product inside of that particular package. Soil testing is also done for farmers, so farmers can be able to have an idea of where best to grow certain select crops, and all those services are being offered by the Bureau. It didn't begin that way, but over time we got to that point. We are also very proud of having a biolab that is the first to have been accredited in the OECS region, and in that lab we also support our clients in the private and public sector. The Bureau also continues in the fight against the single use of plastics. As you know, the government moved towards a ban in plastic, and at the forefront of that is the Bureau of Standards in certifying the products that come in, and to make sure that we are protecting our environment by bringing in products that are safe and that are biodegradable. And we started out at a point where we were allowing products about 75% biodegradable into the country, knowing that we could bring them in and they would still go through a process that would allow our environment to benefit from it. But we are now up to 90%, and that's very good. So persons bringing in products have to make sure that they are 90% biodegradable. We also established good manufacturing practice certification. The Bureau also does all that. And the Bureau continues to treat with, and to assist and to support our thrust to become the first climate resilient country in the world. And we do that by treating with standards, adopting standards, promoting standards, that support climate resilient initiatives, even in relation to the building structures. We would move standards in place in that regard, and also looking at it from the context of other economic and social related activities. So from where I sit, and over the years that I have been at the Bureau of Standards, and even before becoming a member and working at the Ministry of Trade for at least 18 years now, we have seen a serious evolution in what the Bureau of Standards has to offer, both in terms of its activities and the qualifications and the standard and the hard work of the staff that makes the Bureau's work a reality. Thank you.
All right. Well, that's that's an impressive roundup, because you kind of highlighted from back then when it started off, the percentage in terms of numbers to where we are at right now. And of course, we can say, or at least I can say, at least on behalf of what I'm hearing, that things are good, Mr. Walters. Things are good.
Very good indeed.
Very good.
It could be better, but good so far.
But I mean, in terms of, let's say, if we have to do a little comparison, we can say things are good. Indeed. Very good. All right. Well, thank you for that, insightful reflection. It's clear, definitely clear, that the Bureau has come a long way in establishing itself as, a vital institution for our country's growth, development, and as you highlighted there, we have seen the growth, we have seen the development, and like you said, the evolution of the Bureau of Standards. Let me rope in Ms. Joseph, officer in charge at the Bureau. I want you to tell me, being one of the officers in charge there, what has been the biggest contribution of the Bureau to Dominica over the years? What has it been?
The biggest contribution of the Dominica Bureau of Standards has been ensuring that goods and services are of quality in Dominica. Allow me to share some examples. Over the years, we have increased our scope in the chemistry and microbiology labs, and we have seen an increase in the availability of different tests on island. Persons now no longer have to send to have certain tests done out of Dominica, as they can be done in our chemistry and microbiology labs. Also, like as Mr. Walter mentioned, our microbiology lab is accredited for food and water analysts, which means that our testing is internationally recognized. Also, over the years, we have ensured that scales and fuel pumps are fit for fair trade. We have also worked with a number of manufacturers on island in ensuring that their products are compliant, the weighing devices are accurate, and their facilities meet requirements for good manufacturing practices. We have also seen the Bureau expand its scope in different sectors. For example, the agricultural sector. At the Bureau, we have a DOMGAP certification program, which stands for Dominica Good Agriculture Practices. This is benchmark on Global Gap and aids farmers in ensuring the production of safe produce for consumers. We also conduct fresh produce export inspections to ensure that quality and quantity coexist. In addition, we have been collaborating with a number of stakeholders on island to ensure that the quality of goods and services on island. So in short, we have been doing a number of different activities to ensure that goods and services are of quality in Dominica.
That is that is not just one contribution. That is several very, very, very big contributions. Of course, the Bureau has contributed. Of course, we can basically say as well, the Bureau has also contributed to a better quality of life for everyone. And of course, the Bureau of Standards making sure that, quality is essential. I mean, those are tremendous achievements, showcasing the Bureau's dedication to nation's progress as we continue to progress. We as we continue to look back on the last 25 years, definitely it is evidence that the work done at the Bureau has had a significant impact on the daily lives of Dominicans. And of course, it's not just Dominicans, because as well we have a lot of visitors who come through. They are used to a particular standard, and of course the Bureau of Standard has ensured that they also experience that top quality of standards as well. Okay, so it's not just reviewing or going over the past 25 years, but we are also here to celebrate, because as well it is World Standards Day 2024. So let's kind of switch gears a little bit now and talk about World Standards Day. Let me rope in Mrs. Barney Sampson. Tell us what this day is about. Tell us what is World Standards Day all about. Is there a theme? What exactly is significant about World Standards Day, especially in 2024 right now?
So, World Standards Day is observed every year on October 14. It is an international day that honors the efforts of thousands of experts who develop standards. It is also about raising awareness among regulators, industry, and consumers as to the importance of standards to the global economy. So even in our local context, we have technical committees that are made up of experts and various organizations and individuals that represent a cross section of our productive sectors. And today is a day to let them know publicly how much we appreciate their efforts in standards development. I can say that, from the bottom of my heart, it's something that is done where they don't, they're not compensated for it. And so, from the Bureau of Standards standpoint, if we don't have those stakeholders and those persons participating on those committees and so on, then we can't, do our work and we can't serve our country in that way. So we really just want to extend a hearty thank you to them. And also with the general public, today is a day to raise awareness of the Bureau, its products, its services, the activities that we do, and highlight the importance of standards and the other areas of the Bureau. World Standards Day is being celebrated under the theme, Shared Vision for a Better World, Standards for SDGs, or Sustainable Development Goals. And that has been something that has been at the forefront of a lot of conversations with various organizations and institutions these days, the Sustainable Development Goals. And so it was back in 2021, the International Organization for Standardization and the UN looked at or marked the start of a multi-year campaign to increase the understanding of how standards contribute to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. And the objective really is that by 2030, standards will be recognized as an integral part of the success of the SDGs. And since 2021, each year, World Standards Day focuses on a different sustainable development goal. For example, last year it was SDG 3, which is good health and well-being, while this year the focus is on SDG 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructure. So overall, it is important for us because standards is really part of our everyday life. Everything that we do and touch and see somehow is impacted by a standard, and that's why we try to get people to understand why it is so important that we reflect on that and kind of make sure that we are part of the process of the development of standards, as well as implementing and using standards in your own businesses and what you do every day.
You mentioned about SDG 9, which is industry, innovation, and infrastructure. Was there any particular reason why focus on SDG 9 for this year?
Well, it's every year it's a different SDG.
Okay,
right.
okay.
So I was saying that last year was SDG 3.
Yes.
This year is SDG 9. Next year it will be another one. So every year they're just highlighting the different SDGs.
All right, wonderful. Of course, that's fantastic. Of course, we also need to remember that standards do play a critical role in ensuring quality goods, quality services on island are top. Helping local industries align with global markets. A lot of the the local companies right now, we are seeing them exporting their local products. We see a lot of the the beauty products, a lot of the local soaps being exported. So of course, standards, especially the ones that the Bureau presents, have helped local industries align with global markets. Of course, as well, ensuring safety, very importantly, to consumers. So let me ask, we are having this big celebration, World Standards Day, Mrs. Barney Sampson. What exactly is the Bureau doing to observe World Standards Day? Are there activities planned? Of course, we are here on DBS Radio. This is Standards in the Spotlight. I'm sure this is one of them. What are, some activities planned for or in the planning to observe World Standards Day?
Well, World Standards Day is something that especially our staff members look forward to every year. It's something where I think even when I joined the Bureau a few years ago, it became part of how we celebrate and how we honor what we do. But today in particular, we hosted an open day where students from a few schools around town got an exclusive behind the scenes tour of our facility. They got to see firsthand what we do at the Bureau, and as most of them had indicated that they were not aware of what we do at the Bureau, or even they were not aware of the Bureau. So we also got to discuss with them various career opportunities that are applicable across the Bureau based on our units and the different departments that we have within the Bureau. And I especially enjoyed discussing that part with them, because it helps to open up the students' eyes or their mind to other areas of study beside the conventional jobs that are typically out there. So one example, I remember speaking to a group of girls and indicating to them that right now there is a demand, even locally, to have auto mechanic or persons within the auto mechanic field that can repair, or technicians that can repair our lab equipment when they are, something goes wrong with them. A lot of times we have to send, if something goes wrong with the equipment, we have to send for someone overseas to fix it. And so this is an area that is lacking on island. And I was, just sharing with them, even if you are a girl, it's an area that you can look at. It's, and at the end of the day, it's a big money area as well. So so being also for continuity in terms of the students, having that knowledge, getting that quality culture across the the students, because they are the future, and so you get that type of continuity. Earlier this month, we also launched a school poster competition, another activity targeting the young people. So this year we're really trying to see how we can target the young people. We want to get them more involved in what we do to ensure, as I said, continuity, as well as to ensure that they understand the concept of standards and quality, and ultimately build that quality culture I spoke about in Dominica. So right now I want to just encourage students, if you are listening, for ages 11 to 16 to participate in the poster competition. Each secondary school received a flyer from us to share with the students. There is a grand prize of $400 for the first place winner. But besides the grand prize, it's an opportunity for you to do some research and learn something about the work of the Bureau and the standards that we speak about, and be able to express yourself how you would like to see your future as it relates to that. And the deadline for that, the submissions for that particular activity, is at the end of the month. So that's Thursday, the 31st of October 2024. And then to round out the week, we are taking to the streets, conducting a public awareness drive in and around the city of Roseau. We really want to use this activity to make our presence felt. Sometimes you hear about the Bureau, but a lot of people say that they don't see the Bureau. So we want to be able to let people see. We also want the public to know that we are here to work with them. We want them to see that we are approachable, and we want to help them to do things the right way. And so apart from those activities, we're here doing standards in the spotlight tonight. We also, I think earlier on DBS in the morning, you would have probably heard and did you know segment a bit about World Standards Day and the Bureau of Standards as well. So these are some of the activities that we are looking at conducting, and we really hope that we can reach out to especially the young people as it relates to standards.
Well, most definitely right there, especially the fact that people don't really see standards as a career opportunity. And I like the fact that you mentioned that, right now there is, like you said, a big career opportunity where, like you said, not just for males, but for also females to repair standard equipment or standards equipment. That's a very, very, very big opportunity right there. All right, we're live on DBS Radio, of course, the good folks from Standards, the Bureau of Standards. It's Standards in the Spotlight right here. Of course, the first return show. We're going to take a very quick breather, not too long. And of course, when we come back, we will dive and fast forward to what the next 25 years plus are going to be looking like. Keep it locked on with us live on DBS Radio. Welcome back to Standards in the Spotlight, live on your nation station DBS Radio. Of course, moderating for you tonight, my name is Joseph Fadul. Of course, tonight, twofold. We are just recapping so far a little bit of what has happened over the last 25 years. Also, we are, of course, highlighting and celebrating World Standards Day 2024. Of course, it's been really wonderful to hear how much thought and of course the different activities that have gone into the various activities, and of course some of the activities still to come, raising awareness of standards, especially in the younger generations, through of course the poster competition. Of course, we will repeat about that poster competition because we want the young ones, of course we want the students to take part in it and get themselves a little prize money, of course. So such a powerful way to ensure the message of standards, quality standards, carries forward into the future. So we have spoken about the last 25 years, and of course we are just moving forward. So we are now, or let's say go forward into, let's say, the next 25 years. And I mean, it is very, very clear that the Bureau has achieved much in the last 25 years, from establishing a solid foundation to having a profound impact on industries, on people's lives. But the million dollar question, here's the million dollar question, guys. What comes next? Mr. Walter, I started off with you in the first segment. I will start back with you in this segment. Tell us, Mr. Walter, how does the National Standards Council envisage the next 25 years for the Bureau?
Well, that's a very, very long time indeed. But the Bureau has to continue to do its work. So some of the beautiful things that we discussed before, that the Bureau has been involved in doing, the meteorological part of things, the certification, it has to continue in that thrust. But then we have to be futuristic with the things that we do. We know that this is a period of time where there is, global uncertainty. There's so much happening and so much pressure on governments as it relates to financing. So we have been involved in having, preliminary discussion and innovative discussions, about self-sustenance of the Bureau, so that we can ease up some of the financial burden on the good government. So this is one of the things that we have to look into as we move forward in the future from a practical point of view. We are involved in promoting, and adopting standards for building, for construction, for tourism, agriculture, manufacturing, agro-processing, energy and environment. But we have to look into the future and to see in what are the areas that we can begin to enact standards. We know that the world is moving in the direction of green, in the direction of geothermal energy. So we would need to begin to adopt and promote and enact, standards in that regard. In the area of digital transformation, in the area of health and safety, in all those areas we need to look to developing and promoting standards in that regard, because we understand the critical nature of ensuring that people feel safe in whatever new engagements that or futuristic engagements that they need to get into. So we are in on that. But to get all that done, we have to build the competency of the staff at the Bureau, and that lies paramount in what the council would like to see. So we would want to build the staff, ensure that they continue to be well trained. We know we have a good cadre of staff, but we have to continue in that regard. And we had interviews, not too long ago, taking on board, staff at the labs. Talking about the labs, we have to expand the services, the testing services that we offer. Today I was speaking to one of our premier manufacturers in Dominica, and he was doing tests on a particular product in Miami, and he had conducted some tests in another country. We need to expand our testing capacity and capabilities, so that we can deal with those particular tests in-house and we don't have to treat with them abroad. And as we look at the change in the dynamics of our export mix, we are left in a position where we must move in that direction. So in a nutshell, these are some of the areas, the key areas, those that stand out the most, that we see that we need to move forward on in a futuristic way for the next 25 years. Thank you, man.
You mentioned about digital transformation. What for you would be like, let's say, and maybe not an immediate, but close to immediate aspect that you would want to see, especially in the digital transformation? Because, I mean, let's be serious. Everything is almost digital these days. There are phones. People hardly use, I don't want to say they hardly use paper, but, we are more into, the whole digital era. What for you would you like to see, let's say, come front and center on the front burner in terms of digital transformation, in terms of standardization?
Well, you said it right. The world is moving in that direction. Everything is becoming digitalized. I mean, even in relation to the way we take exams, the way we communicate, the way we pay our bills, whether the manner in which we do those transactions, there is a sense of safety in doing them. So I think what comes to mind most profoundly is the platforms that we use to do those transactions, whether those particular platforms are as safe as they can be, and what standards would need to be put in place so that persons who are using those platforms, they don't feel that in any way, shape or form they can be compromised. So I think that to be stands out as front and center.
All right, so ensuring that, let's say, in the digital era, safety is key for us there. Thank you very much, Mr. Walter, for that. Let me rope in my friend, Miss Joseph here. As someone who's closely involved, you're into it. You're into the day-to-day operations of the bureau. For you, what can you add to the vision of the bureau for the next 25 years? What can you add?
As Mr. Walter mentioned, 25 years is a lot of years, but in the next 25 years, we are hoping, one of the things that we're hoping to do is add numerous certification schemes at the Dominica Bureau of Standards. We are looking to also increase our inspection scope to ensure the safety of our consumers. For example, we are looking to add inspection of tires, as also the inspection of vehicles. We are also looking to develop and publish more national standards. So hopefully in the next 25 years, we have a wider range of standards to fit every different sector in the Commonwealth of Dominica. In addition, we are looking to increase the scope of the meteorology, chemistry, and microbiology laboratories. For example, in the meteorology unit, we are currently doing mass and volume. So we are looking to do in the near future temperature as well as pressure. So there's a few additional activities we are looking to undertake in the next 25 years.
All right, that's wonderful. And of course, as we move forward, with development, growth, evolution, we can definitely see big, great top quality things coming from the bureau. Of course, sounding very, very excitement. It's great to hear about the plans to expand and enhance the bureau's offerings to keep pace with the changing world. We are living definitely in a changing world. Mrs. Barney Sampson, I'm coming to you right now. From a standards development perspective specifically, what emerging trends do you think will shape the future of standards for let's say the next few decades or so?
So I want to really look at what I think are the top 3 areas based on how we see the world is going now. One of the key areas, and I think that's a very important area for Dominica at the moment, is sustainability and climate change mitigation. We know that climate change is it's a serious problem, and it is evident around us. Just last week, we saw how Hurricane Milton ravaged parts of Florida. So standards related to sustainability, environmental protection, even carbon reduction. Even in Dominica, sometimes we figure out that we don't need to reduce our carbon footprint, because we are one of those countries with a really tiny carbon footprint. But I always tell people, in this world, we each have to do our own work in trying to make sure that the overall work is being done, so standards relating to those things will become even more critical over the next couple of years, because the temperature is getting hotter, right? And I expect that standards will evolve to support our transitions to green technologies and renewable energy and the circular economy, as well as sustainable practices across all the sectors, especially manufacturing, agriculture, tourism, and construction, which are some of those sectors that are really, really important to us. And we see now, with the onset of the geothermal project, we will need to have standards in place to ensure that things are being done correctly as it relates to that area. Secondly, we spoke about the digital transformation moments ago, and what they now call Industry 4.0. Another thing that is apparent in this world is that it is rapidly transforming digitally, and it is happening so quickly. Sometimes I open social media, and by the time I close it and I come back, there's something else going on. I remember looking at some latest videos from Elon Musk of his suite of robots and driverless taxis. And even the other day, a friend of mine in the US, he sent me a video of him, taking a ride in a driverless taxi. And it's like oohs and ahs on our end. And it's like, if we don't catch up to these things, we're going to get left behind in Dominica. So that's the reality. Those things, they already exist. They're here. We have to catch up, and the standards will help. Because one of the things standards does is, because standards, especially when we develop national standards, we tend to align it to international and regional standards. And so if we can accept what is internationally recognized, then it means we are able to catch up to the rest of the world. Also, another important one is the use of artificial intelligence. We hear about AI all the time, and the Internet of Things and the others, and those equipment of the robots that they're now making, they use those in order to function. Even with the simple robot vacuum that people use to, in their homes to help clean, those have sorts of different technologies that are being used in them. So standards will be needed to address the interoperability and the data security and privacy and the ethical use of the AI, to ensure seamless integration of these technologies into the various sectors, especially sectors like manufacturing, healthcare. And we spoke a bit about finance a while ago. We see now a lot of times you have systems being compromised. Recently, there was a surge in people scamming, using WhatsApp to scam persons, and those types of things. And so people want to be careful, and the standards, again, will help to ensure that people feel safe. The third one that I want to mention is our health and safety innovations. Just a few years ago, we were really unprepared for the COVID-19 pandemic, and according to authorities, more pandemics are likely in the future, and so future standards will need to prioritize public health, safety, and resilience. That ability to bounce back, really quickly after those events occur. So standards for innovative medical devices, pharmaceuticals, biotechnology, and the supply chain, that is an important facet as well. How can I get something that was made in, let's say, Australia, and we need it here to address a particular matter? How can we get it here quickly? And being able to further to evolve to safeguard the public health and ensure the rapid deployment of health innovations. So there are many other trending areas as well, but it would take us all night if I had to get into those. So the point is that the Bureau will be trying to its best to keep up with those trends, making sure that we do not get left behind, as I mentioned earlier. And as I said, one of the ways we will be working towards that is through our participation in regional and international standards development processes. So the Bureau being a member of a few regional and international standards bodies, and so when we participate in the processes of developing those regional and international standards, it helps to ensure that our national standards can easily align with those regional and international standards.
All right. Well, clearly, it is very, very clear that standards locally, regionally, and of course internationally are evolving, and they're evolving very, very fast. Standards is evolving just as fast as industries. Just as fast as the industries that they serve, whether it's through digital innovation, sustainability, international collaboration. Definitely, it looks like the next 25 years are going to be very transformative for the Bureau of Standards and the standard landscape globally. All right, we are about to wrap up in a few minutes. Let's take a very quick breather. We'll be right back to this edition of Standards in the Spotlight right here on DBS. Closing moments of the return edition of Standards in the Spotlight right here on your nation station DBS Radio. But before we wrap up, I'd like to give everyone on our wonderful panel tonight a chance for you to share, your final thoughts or messages to our listeners, both frequency television, of course, on YouTube and Facebook. Miss Joseph, let me start with you. Your closing remarks. What would be some messages, final thoughts as we wrap up this first re-edition or re-comeback of Standards in the Spotlight?
In closing, I would like to say that standards is very important in our day-to-day life. At the Bureau, we have various units working towards ensuring goods and services are of quality in Dominica. For example, we have the metrology unit, which ensure that weighing devices and fuel pumps are accurate. We have the inspection unit ensuring the goods on the market are compliant to labeling standards. We have the certification unit ensuring that certified goods and services. We have the microbiology and chemistry labs ensuring that we have a wide range of testing available on island. We also have a quality assurance unit which ensures that each of the units meet the requirements for accreditation, so we can move in the future providing more accredited services. In the near future, we hope to continue to increase our scope and to continue to ensure the safety of all consumers and that quality and quantity continue to coexist in the Commonwealth of Dominica.
All right. Very straightforward, very simple, but yet still very effective going forward. Thank you very much, Ms. Joseph. Mrs. Banis Sampson, what final thoughts would you like to leave with our listeners right here on DBS?
So I want to take the opportunity to reiterate the importance of your participation, and by your I mean the general public, your participation in the standards development process. I want to encourage people to learn about standards, use the standards, advocate for the standards, and comply with those standards that are published and available to you. If you're not sure about something, feel free to contact us. We are here to help, as I said earlier. We have a website that you can visit if you want to learn more information. There is a wealth of information there. Follow us on social media. We are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, so that you can stay updated on our activities, our products, and our services. And just rounding back up to the standards development process, as I said, we are always looking for persons to join our technical committees. As I said, it's not you're not going to get like compensated, but it's part of making sure that everybody gets to put a piece in the standard that's supposed to be for the nation. So these are some of the areas I just wanted to touch on again.
All right, excellent points right there, Mr. Walter. I'm going to leave the final word with you. Our first program, we're back with Standards in the Spotlight. What would be some of your parting thoughts with us tonight?
Well, the Dominica Bureau of Standards, it plays a very critical role in the enhancement of our goods, our services, our processes, and our practices here in Dominica. We will continue to support our farmers, to support our small businesses, our private and public sector, our hospitals, our petrol stations, our small business stores and shops. We have no intent to remain a stagnated body, and hence the reason why we spoke to embracing very innovative standard setting. And we will remain open to suggestions. As we indicated, we have more than 120 proposals that were presented by the business sector, by other stakeholders. So we remain very open to that. We have a very open door policy, and I just want the public to know that the Bureau of Standards is here for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Walters, tonight joining us. And yes, that's it. The first edition. This wraps up this edition of Standards in the Spotlight right here on your nation station, DBS Radio. I want to say big thank you to our guests for your insightful contributions tonight, especially at the fact that we are celebrating World Standards Day 2024, and of course 25 years. Special thank you to all our listeners for tuning in. Don't forget, for us, as we commemorate the 25th anniversary and World Standards Day 2024, we encourage you to take a moment to appreciate the standards that impact your lives every single day, from the products that you use to the services that you rely on. Just appreciate it, because things are and have improved a long way. Now, of course, to stay updated on products, services, upcoming activities, please visit the Standards website, the Bureau of Standards website. It is www.dominicastandards.org. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. It's very simple. It's at Dominica Bureau. If you would like to reach out to us, you can call 235-1592. You can also send us an email, info@dominicastandards.org. And of course, if you are in the area, you're welcome to visit the main office at the back of the DFA Technical Center in Stock Farm, just on your way up to college. All right. Thank you very much. Until next time, I am Joseph Fadul, signing off on this wonderful, informative, educational session of Standards in the Spotlight. Stay safe, and remember, standards definitely make life better. To our three wonderful guests, thank you very much. Have yourselves a very beautiful evening. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right.